Today's topic is going to be on how to use bullets, the software version, not the hardware type. The purpose of bullets, as you can see, is to keep your list in some type of order. PowerPoint and Word will update automatically whenever you add or remove items in your list. It will also highlight the importance of the items, and it will bring attention to certain points of the text. And you can see the intent of bullets, in my own words, is to keep points organized, yet help the presenter get his point across, his or her point across, and the audience to receive the points. And shown here, there are 4 ways of showing bullets. You can have numerical, alphabetical, symbol, or some combination of the above. So here are the 4 types of bulleting. You can have symbols, you can have numbers or numerals, you can have alphabets, or you can have some combination. And here's how you get started. You basically just start typing in one of the supplied text boxes. As you can see, round bulletin is the default. So you can just start typing, or you can paste in the text, or a third option is to adjust the master slide so that your desired bullet shows up each time in the sub bullets, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So here's an example. Let's drop out of slideshow view and show you. You see the box, you see the default bullet, you just start typing. Pretty easy. Now, when you want to have a sub bullet, you need to hit the tab key to get a sub bullet. And we'll show you how you can change these from round bullets to something else. So when you go back to slideshow mode, that's how it's going to look. Now here's an example, as I show here, of some pasted text ready for bullet formatting. Let's drop out. You click anywhere in the box, paint it, and you select whether you want symbols or if you want numbers and alphabets. And notice how it changes based on your selection. And that was shown in the silent demo. Let's just go with where we are with numbers. Let's go with numbers. And you can see that we have a series of one-word text, but now we have at bullet 4, we have 30, then 33, 35, 39. So let's make those sub-bullets, since they're a subset of 30. You want to highlight those, hit either your tab key, or you can hit the indent key. And now those are subsets, but it looks a little weird to have numbers here and numbers here. So let's change that to letters with lowercase letters with dots or with periods. And now when you go back to slideshow view, you can see the 330 that are subsets of 30. Now in this particular example, this is one that I would call or say is too long. It needs separation. And this is not in PowerPoint. This is in my humble opinion. it needs to be broken out to make it easier to see. What I would do, go back out. Since we have 13, I would go every 4. I would just enter a line here, enter a line there, and then you got 5 here. It makes it a little easier to see because you got a group of 4, and a group of 5. But note that PowerPoint changes the font size, so be aware of that. So let's undo that. Let's go to, notice I was at 22. Let's go every 3. Now the font's down to 19. So let's undo that. If you'll note, we have cherries with pits and without pits. So let's pick our bullet style. Let's go with alphabets. And then we've got these, what I will call sub bullets. So we'll just indent those and give them maybe some squares. And you can still separate it. But you notice the font has gone down. And if you copy this entire box, you can easily change all of this to some of the bullets, but what numbered bullet is strawberry? That's the problem in this right box. Wrong, left box, it's bullet H, like in hotel. That's the problem with long list using symbols. Even if you change the symbol, you have the same issue trying to figure out what symbol goes with the bullet that you want to talk about. So that's why I like going with something like that and changing your sub bullets if you want to. So separation and sub bullets. Now this particular example is small enough, or the list is small enough that you could use symbols without it being too hard on the audience. You could just pick the default, or you could go to something else, or you go to something else, and you'll note that it's pretty easy. So it's the third bullet, the second bullet, the first bullet. No need in separating unless you just want to space it out. Let's go back to our previous example. Let's look at renumbering. Say you wanted this last set to start at letter L, let's say. You could just select the items that you want to be renumbered, go to bullets and renumbering, and you want to start at, this is 7, H-I-J-K-L. You want to start at L, and you'll note here how it goes from F to L. That's how you renumber section. Because sometimes your outline can get out of order based on line feeds and deletions and insertions, and you may need to renumber the outline from a certain point down. The last thing we have for you is some real life examples of bulleting, how it can vary depending on what organization or what person is doing the bulleting. Here we have Robert's Rules of Order. This is their table of contents. But as you can see, we're in Chapter 3, Section 6, and then subsidiary motions, which is what I have highlighted here. And when you go to the text, you're in Section 6, Part 2. So Section 6.2 of Chapter 3. This is from O'Connor's Texas Rules Commentaries. This is Chapter 6, Section 6.2.2, subpart 3. That's what we have here. Section 6.2, subpart 2, Section 3. I call this wrapped and indented. You'll see that the first line is indented, but the rest of it is wrapped to be flush left or left aligned. We have one more example. This is from the OSHA Code of Federal Register, CFR. It is section 1926.502, subpart B 2I. And that's what I have here, 1926.502 B2I. I call this flat outlining. Everything is left justified and it just wraps accordingly. And the IRS has the same type of outlining structure in their tax code. So to recap, we've talked about the purpose of bulleting, the intent in plain language, the 4 different types, numerical, alphabetical, symbol, and a combination. We've talked about separating it optionally to make it easier on the viewer and the presenter, especially when you start getting into dialogue on certain bullet points that you want to discuss. How to get started, you can either start typing, you can paste in some text, or you can do a combination using the master slide setup so that your bullet symbol is the same each time without having to change it. We went over some printed examples of real world bulleting examples so that you could see what it looks like. Thank you much for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe if you found this information useful, and we look forward to you on the next video. Happy PowerPointing. And when you're giving your presentation, get to the point. Take care.